Is everyone ready? Okay, I'm gonna let her in.
Hi,
Hello.
how's your day going today?
It was pretty, I would say, adventurous because I went to visit my friend in Madison and now I'm here. So
Oh, was it like a long drive or
from where I'm from, it's like an hour or an hour 30, depending if like there's traffic or not. But
yeah, nice? Yeah.
mhm.
All right. But I wanted okay, we're gonna start with thank you for applying for MAFA's Executive Board 2025 to 2026. We really appreciate it. And I'm gonna explain the interview process really quick and then I'll see if you have any questions. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. So for the interview process, you'll have 5 minutes to read your speech. I'll give you a 1 minute, 30-second warning in the chat, and then I'll say time. And then after that, I'll give you a few moments to like recollect yourself, get a drink of water if you want. I know like the speech part can be like a lot, so give you like some time to like recollect your thoughts. And then after that, we'll give you you'll have a Q&A session for 5 minutes. For your Q&A session, since you're running for two positions, we'll have two questions asked for each position.
Mhm.
And then that's it. And then you'll be all done.
Okay,
Any
sounds good.
questions? Alrighty. And I just want to confirm what positions you're running for.
Yeah, Director of Marketing and Director of Media.
Alrighty. And then whenever you start your speech, I'll start the timer. So whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Kimberly Saldana, and I'm running for the positions of Director of Marketing and Director of Media. A little bit about me. I'm an incoming junior at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, majoring in marketing. I'm an active member of the Filipino Student Union and served as the organization's secretary with the focus on marketing this past school year. I'm also excited to share that I've been elected to serve as the president this upcoming school year. I'm running for Director of Marketing because it aligns with both my field of study and my passion. Marketing is something I specialize in, and I want to help strengthen and elevate MAFA's branding to better engage Midwestern universities that aren't yet part of the MAFA sphere. Through my experience serving as the secretary for FSU, I developed strong time management, organizational, and multitasking skills. I've shown this by directing marketing efforts for two of our biggest events, Pinoy Professionals Panel and Coffee House. I'm also running for Director of Media because content creation is another passion of mine. I have experience using Canva to create visuals that help brand and promote my student orgs events in ways that attract student engagement. And I'm also familiar with the use of CapCut and TikTok editing features to keep up with the current trends. Overall, I enjoy the process of brainstorming and designing content, which is something I can share with this position. One of my strongest skills is that I'm organized. I like having a plan and laying out my schedule of what I will be doing for the day, and I will use that in my familiarity with social media to ensure that promotional content is posted consistently and on time. In addition, I have strong communication skills that allow me to collaborate with others effectively. I believe that you can't build connections without having good communication, and I would be able to provide that on MAFA board. Through my experience as a MAFA intern this past year, I've been able to build meaningful connections just through communication. With my emphasis on enhancing and strengthening MAFA's branding, one project I have is a monthly recap series. This could be in the form of a scrapbook style post, a newspaper layout, or another creative design where it highlights events and activities MAFA has hosted, as well as other schools within the MAFA sphere has done. It would be a great way to keep everyone connected and informed while celebrating how we collectively promote our culture throughout the Midwest. This initiative would also support MAFA's branding by showcasing our community's engagement and potentially encouraging other universities to join MAFA. In addition, consistently posting on social media would be essential for keeping our platforms active and ensuring everyone stays up to date. Another project I have in mind is launching an alumni highlight series. Like how we currently feature our e-board, interns, and MAFA schools, I believe it would be meaningful to showcase alumni, especially former MAFA board members. This would give our community a chance to see where past members are in their careers and lives while emphasizing that MAFA just isn't just an organization, it's a lifelong community. These highlights would keep our MAFA sphere connected and inspire current and future members by showing the impact MAFA has beyond college. It could also give students ideas for their own career paths and reinforce the value of getting involved. I believe this project would celebrate our legacy, strengthen alumni relations, and show the lasting influence of MAFA in a professional and personal sense. I know what it takes to work on a smaller and larger scale with my internship with MAFA and being part of FSU eBoard. And with that, these experiences has allowed me to adapt and grow as a leader. Whether I take on the position of Director of Marketing or Director of Media, being part of the MAFA board and representing my organization, FSU, would be an incredible honor and a responsibility I would take great pride in. And with that, thank you for your time and consideration.
Yay, good job. You did amazing. Um, do you need like a sip of water or like
Actually, yeah, I'll take that sip of
go?
water.
You got it, girl. You did amazing. And congrats on being president. Yeah,
Thank you.
it's amazing. Already. And then just let me know when you're ready. And then Anna will give you your first question. And then
So
I'll start the timer.
I'm ready.
All right. Hi, Kimberly. You did so good. So for your first question is, can you walk us through a media project like social media or merch that you're proud of? Did you,
Oh, I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? The Wi-Fi lag.
sorry, my connection's so bad. It's,
No,
can
you're
you walk
good.
us through a media project, social media or merch that you're proud of, and what tools or platforms did you use?
Sorry. Yeah, I'll use Coffee House for example. That was our most recent event that FSU hosted this school year, and I would say probably one of our like successful events as well. Um, how I plan for that, I like starting when we have like big events like that, I like starting like to plan like a month early, like at least getting the word out. And then we also had like special guests performing there. We had four. One either depending on how many people like we have like special guests, I'd either post like once a week or once a day, just like so it's like a constant reminder, like, hey, we have this upcoming event and we're also having like a special guest. So if you're interested, like you should come out. But um the tools and platforms I used Canva to create majority of like the posts and that stuff. And then the main platform I used was Instagram. But I did want to use like Facebook, and then we just opened up our LinkedIn account, so probably like advertising more on yeah, advertising more than one social media platform um would be something that I would have used. But yeah.
Okay, nice, nice. For your second question, how would you maintain engagement on social media during slower months or a period of time where there are not a lot of events?
Mhm. With the two projects I mentioned in my speech, like a monthly recap post or like in a like alumni highlight, I think those would definitely be like utilized in those periods where we don't have like a big event happening, like when it's not MFAS or fact like during like the silent months. But besides those, I probably like would do like probably fun like story interactive ideas, like a fun poll or something like that. Just some like anything to like keep the Instagram active and like keep reminding people that like we exist and stuff.
Wow, you're definitely in the right major. You're like so knowledgeable about all this stuff. A little bit more of like a media question is describe your editing or content creation process from idea to final post.
I actually like brainstorming when I'm in the event. Like for example, like a GBM, like a general body meeting, I usually like planning what I'm gonna like how I'm gonna create the layout and that stuff when I did make some of the posts beforehand. Or like say it's for example like coffee house or like any like Filipino focus like event we host, I like to make sure like I include like Filipino culture for sure, like especially like our flag colors or like anything that like makes sure is like, yes, we're hosting this, but it also is like because we're like in Filipino org, if that makes sense.
Thanks for that answer. My question for you is how do you balance creativity with timely execution and consistency?
Hmm. I guess let me know if I answer this wrong, but the way like I do it is like I said during the events or like leading up, I like brainstorming my idea and then usually like a day after if I have time or like 2 days after, I like to start working on it and then usually I finish my projects within like the day I start, but if it's like a bigger project like say for like our e-board member post that took me like a while, I would commit like doing half of the members one day and then like half of the members the other day. And then how I like balance that out with my schoolwork and like life responsibilities, I usually like I mentioned in my speech earlier, I like planning out my days. So I sometimes like schedule a block um when I schedule a block specifically like for example like FSU like things I'll focus like between like 4 and 6 p.m. that I'll do like FSU stuff and hopefully try to get it done within that time.
All right. That's all. You just finished like right on time. So, congrats. That was really good. You did amazing. So I'm just gonna go over what the next steps are. So for the next steps, we're gonna be interviewing the other applicants until tomorrow. And so MAFA organizations and MAFA executive board will be voting from June 8th to the 14th. So for MAFA organizations, their VPEs, they're going to be allotted one vote, and then MAFA executive board members will be allotted 2 votes. And then for those running unopposed, they must receive 2/3 of the vote to be elected. And then the results of elections will be sent out June 15th.
Oh, that's good.
Do you have any questions?
Uh, I guess it's a personal question for all of you guys, but what's one thing like what was your favorite memory? Ooh, sorry. Favorite memory running like being part of MAFA e-board?
Oh my God, turns tables. Anyone want to go first?
Um, Hi, this is Clarice. My camera's turned off, but I would say my favorite was either retreat or housing at MFAS.
For me, I'm gonna say um being on planning committee for 2 MFASs, just seeing how the first one went and then how we were able to improve it for the second or like see what like didn't work out. So, but I really liked it.
I'll go next. For me, I think it's that friendship that we kind of built. Like I visited Sarah and who's our VPI, has visited me in Madison. I saw like BSO's like fashion show and Alyssa was in there. So that was really fun. Just being able to go on side quests and see my friends and build that connection across the Midwest.
Anna said she lost. Oh, there she is. She keeps losing service.
I just need invite. I don't know exactly.
So I have no idea what Anna just said. Um, but at least for me personally, I also love just having the connections all over. So yeah, some of the board members have gone to see like SLU's like cultural show, and it's really fun to go up to Madison and see everyone. So just definitely having those connections where there's so many more familiar faces.
Does Anna still want to try? I don't know if she's frozen. Is she frozen for you guys?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, I said like the retreat and just getting to meet everybody and just like meeting board. Like I love my board.
Thank you for the question. That was really interesting. I really appreciated it.
Yes. You guys like seemed like a big like you guys all got along, and like I think that's what inspired me to be on MAFA board in the first place. Like what you guys all emphasize, like the connection. Because honestly, like I was able to have the friends that I have at like Madison, SLU too, and even like at Marquette. So it's just so nice to have like that community.
Real. You're so nice. Oh my God.
No, you guys are. Thank you.
Alrighty. But if you don't have any more questions, then we're like done with the interview. So
Sounds good. Thank you guys so much for your time.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Ooh, how do I
I'm letting Julia in.
Hi. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Sorry, I'm outside right now. So if you can't hear me that well, please let me know whenever.
Yeah, we can hear you pretty well.
Okay, that's good. Um,
Already. So I'm gonna start off with saying thank you for applying to be on MAFA's e-board 2025-2026. I know it's a long process with like having to write your application and then like the interview. So we just really want to say thank you.
no problem.
Um, I'm gonna explain the interview process really quick, and then if you have any questions, just let me know. So for the interview process, you'll have 5 minutes to read your speech. I'll give you a 1 minute and 30-second warning. I'll type in the chat, so just make sure you watch out for those.
Okay.
And then I'll give you like a little breather, recollect your thoughts, take a sip of water. So then you can go into your 5 minute Q&A, which our e-board members will ask you some questions. And then that's really it for the interview. Do you have any questions?
Okay. Um, not really. No.
Okay. And then I'll start the timer whenever you are ready.
Okay. All right. Oh, hello everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Julia Domingo, and I'm eager to be your outreach chair for the year of 2025 to 2026. And before anything else, I just want to say a little about myself. I'm an incoming junior studying neurobiology and philosophy at the UW, University of Wisconsin-Madison. I'm a mother of one domestic short-haired kitty. Her name's Nini, for those of you who care. Um, Outside of academics, I am involved as a research assistant for the language acquisition and bilingualism lab at my school. And I also work as a certified nursing assistant at a UW Health hospital near my campus. So learning about MAFA was a game changer for me. Having like the vast network that it has and like so much opportunity, I find MAFA as like the perfect outlet to channel ambition and amplify awareness of both the history and current experiences of the Filipino diaspora, especially among the youth. If elected, I intend to take full advantage of this potential. I'm running for outreach here because I'm passionate about building meaningful connections and engaging more deeply and interpersonally with external schools. My goal is to strike a balance between quality and quantity, strengthening the depth of our existing relationships while expanding our reach across our Filipino communities throughout the Midwest. I plan to initiate more collaborations between participating schools to strengthen inter-organizational connections. And one way to do this is by holding meetings with 2 to 3 MAFA to discuss featuring each other in their newsletters, creating opportunities to exchange ideas and inspire new initiatives. Additionally, I'd like to introduce a monthly spotlight in the MAFA newsletter in collaboration with a cultural liaison chair that highlights MAFA members specifically from different organizations and celebrates their achievements. I think that this is a really great way to give well-deserved recognition to individuals across our network. And I also hope to better incorporate current national news from the Philippines by collaborating with MAFA member orgs when publishing their newsletters. These additions would enrich our updates with relevant and engaging content that connects us more deeply to our roots and to each other. And through these efforts, my goal is to foster a more immersive and collaborative experience, one that promotes knowledge sharing and builds a stronger, more connected community. I will become successful in this position because I'm a team player. I'm collaborative, hence I thrive in team settings. I genuinely enjoy collaborating with others. And that being said, I work effectively with a team because I'm collaborative, personable, dispassionately passionate, honest, and above all, ambitious. When I say personable, I mean I actively seek to understand and engage with those around me. I immerse myself in conversations not just by speaking, but more importantly by listening. I strive to hear my peers out with empathy and respect. I am always mindful of boundaries in my own capacity. This approach is especially important when negotiating collaborations with other student organizations. And this ties into being dispassionately passionate. I bring a deep commitment to serving the community and promoting cultural awareness, while also making thoughtful and biased decisions. I don't shy away from honesty. I know when to I know when to take a step back and let others lead, and when to step in and contribute. I hold myself accountable for my responsibilities, behavior, and attitude, just as I expect the same from others. I find giving and receiving constructive criticism to be a critical aspect of working with others. So if elected as a member of an executive board representing communities across the Midwest, I believe every member should uphold standards that foster both professional and personal growth. This belief fuels my ambitious nature. I strive to grow alongside my peers and cultivate an environment that supports and uplifts everyone, including those outside the organization. I take initiative, make informed decisions, and follow through with action and effort. My goal is to ensure progress, if not immediate success, in deepening our collective knowledge and strengthening our connection to one another and to our Filipino identity. My promotion to a shift lead position in the fast food industry after 6 months of being hired accentuates my ability to collaborate, adapt, and lead effectively. A combined 5 years of work experience in a senior living home, fast food, and healthcare showcase valuable exposure in handling all kinds of interactions with a whole range of people and personalities, which has prompted me to step up due to unforeseen situations. To me, teamwork means showing up for each other, especially when it matters most. Ultimately, my success is tied to the well-being of my peers, making me a perfect candidate for MAFA Executive Board as we continue our journey of discovering and affirming Filipino identity throughout the Midwest. It would be an honor to be a part of this team. Thank you for your time.
Yay, good job. Do you need like a sip of water or like a few moments?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm at a random high school right now, so I don't really have my stuff with me. I'm out of town. I don't have my water bottle, but we're all good though.
Okay. So for your first question, Jacob is gonna ask you, and once Jacob asks you your question, I'll start the timer.
Okay, sounds good.
Hi, great.
You.
No, I know you kind of touched about it a little bit, but maybe just give a little bit more. How would you initiate and maintain partnerships with MAFA schools?
So like I mentioned earlier, I've had a couple of ideas with like I think the most, I think personally, the easiest thing to maintain and like connect with more is to be more involved with one another. And one way would be through incorporating each other through newsletters. Like I mentioned earlier, kind of just like featuring, like being in constant contact with multiple organizations all throughout the Midwest will help us like engage with them more often if we include them in like newsletters and have like initiate meetings between those organizations so that they could bounce ideas off of one another in terms of like, oh, a lot of us do like Philippine culture nights or and all throughout the Midwest, there's like a lot of schools involved, but a lot of them are also just like um in terms of location, collaborations are very much possible. So I would like to incorporate just more like interaction within the newsletters to begin with. Yeah, I think that that's a great way to start and maintain connections.
Awesome. Thank you so much. The next question we have is, if someone doesn't respond to your outreach attempts, how would you follow up and kind of handle that situation?
Um, I've, from my experience as an intern for MAFA 2, it's not always easy to get a response back. So one thing that I opted to was mostly just to follow up with an email. But at the same time, I think that not hearing from them, I would try to follow up maybe a second time, but then I would I would talk with other board members to see um if this connection with this school or is do, and what we can um who else we can connect with. Just check our options, just because I understand the remoteness of just MAFA in general, so it can be really hard. So yeah, I think we can like, I guess, like, to summarize, I would go with following up once or twice, and if anything, if all else fails, I think I would regroup with board members to reorganize our priorities and just to problem solve it from there. Mm.
Hi, Julia. So for your next question is how would you approach planning a collaboration with another organization and what steps would you take?
In terms of planning collaborations with other organizations, I know that a lot of from my understanding of this position is that outreach chair is one of like the first points of contact with like other schools. So first of all, I want to make sure in what we want in terms of a collaboration with another school, so that I can convey everything that is needed, especially since taking into account we don't always get responses, and whenever we do, it can, we can come to a point where it doesn't happen again. Like, yeah, we can't meet up because of, schedules or whatever. Um, so I would initiate a collaboration just by being on the same page with everyone else on board before contacting said organization and reaching out with them. I would go in with a meeting along with the um, oh, vice president external, just so we could have multiple witnesses and just multiple opinions on how the meetings could go. I think I value a lot of like support, just so yeah, in terms of those things. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for the question.
All right. And then you do have 20 seconds left on the clock, on the timer. Do you want to answer another question, or are you good?
If if there are any more questions, I would love to.
Yeah, it's like a really simple question. You can just answer it like bullet points or however you would like. It's how do you plan to increase engagement on the Discord?
On the Discord, first of all, I would learn how to use Discord like much better. Yeah. Just because it's really hard to keep others engaged when I'm not even that engaged. And maybe yeah, so that would be the first step. And then another step would just be to like constantly keep everyone updated, whether that be like through newsletters. Just, I know that we have like our website, so like constantly like boosting up relevant information and news. um yeah. And if all else fails, I think that also like providing other options for other platforms through Discord, just so everyone can have some type of way form for like contact. Yeah.
Thank you for answering that last question. That's really good. I'm like the worst at Discord, so that was really good.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for the question.
But yeah, you did amazing. Another round of applause. Yay!
Thank you.
Alrighty. So I'm just gonna explain the next few steps, and then if you have any questions, just let me know. So we're still interviewing other applicants until June 4th, so tomorrow. For voting information, our MAFA organization, so our schools, and MAFA e-board will be voting from June 8th to the 14th. So for that, MAFA schools, like their VPEs, and they'll be allotted one vote, and then MAFA executive board members will be allotted 2 votes. And for those running unopposed, they must receive 2/3 of the vote to be elected. And then the results of elections will be emailed June 15th.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Do you have any questions?
Um,
Oh, it should cut out. It should cut out for anyone else. Oh no. Uh, maybe she'll come back in a sec.
Sorry.
No, you're good, you're good. But do you have any questions?
No, I'm all good.
Okay, then you're all set. Thank you so much. Have a
Okay.
good
You guys have a good day. Thank you so much for having me here.
Hey,
Hello.
how are you? How's your day?
I just had a separate interview, probably a little more sketchy than this one.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Uh,
Are you excited?
um, yes. Right now, I'm just hungry.
Oh, that's real. That's real. I just ate some mango sticky rice.
Okay, well, I don't have that luxury.
All right, I'll make you some later. I'll do that though.
Better. Well, you're just what, like 10 feet away.
Oh my God, you're in the. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, we're gonna get started with your interview. Just want to say thank you for applying and interviewing to be on the 2025 and 2026 Midwest Association of Filipino Americans Executive Board. We truly appreciate it. So I'm just gonna explain the interview process and then just let me know if you have any questions. So for interview, you'll have 5 minutes to read your speech, and then I'll give you a 1 minute and 30-second warning. And then after that, I'll say time in the chat, so make sure you look out for that. And then, we'll give you a few moments to like recollect your thoughts, get a like a drink of water, I don't know, take like a little breather. And then we'll go on to your 5 minute Q&A session where Julie, Clarice, and I will ask you some questions. And then that'll be it. Do you have any questions?
No, I'm not. Good.
And then I just wanted to confirm what position you're running for.
I'm running for president.
Alrighty. And then whenever you're ready to start your speech, I'll start the timer.
Hello, MAFA. My name is Tyler Janelle. I'm a rising senior with a major in marketing and a minor in supply chain management. I'm a member of St. Louis University's Filipino Student Association, previously holding executive board positions such as the org's Cultural Grants Committee and Entertainment Committee head for MFAS, both during my sophomore year. This past year, I had the opportunity to be a MAFA intern where I collaborated with many other interns, learning and applying new skills while working closely with each position on MAFA board. I'm here today to announce my candidacy for MAFA president. Through high school, I was fortunate enough to be surrounded by a community that celebrated our culture. Well, even though it wasn't just Filipino culture, I still grew with people who took pride in their own heritage. Being in that environment early on shaped my passion for not just my background, but the motivation to support values that matter. During my first year at SLU, I was chosen to be our org's stage manager, which meant I had a vital part in setting up our PCN. As a freshman stepping into such an important role, I was given a lot of guidance that helped me be the best that I could be and give the most that I could in return. Having this mentor-mentee relationship with the upperclassmen early on encouraged me to be more involved, but it was my personal mentor figure and predecessor that guided me to my first 2 years and inspired me to run for e-board. I mention that testament because these types of connections are important. It's knowing that you have someone to think of new ideas with, someone who can help you through challenges, and ultimately someone that will understand what you're going through. That is why, as MAFA president, I will be working towards a more collaborative environment internally and throughout the MAFA sphere through check-ins, activities, and just being there with the idea of personally connecting with MAFA orgs to create an environment where we can grow together, something that I personally felt when I joined FSA. These mutual connections encourage one another where we do not have to ask, what else? That could just be my anxiety taking over, but it could also be what pushes me to always want to bring something new and lead with purpose. Planning MFA's variety show had its fair share of problems, but after taking a step back, the end product became something of its own. And even if the change was small, the smiles, cheers, and feedback from the crowd definitely weren't. That is what I want to do for MAFA. I would love to build on what this organization brings and rethink ways to make them memorable. That would mean working with my fellow board members to find ways to innovate and come together where ultimately we do not hesitate to ask what's next. These goals wouldn't be possible without a close and supportive e-board. To me, an effective e-board is at its strongest when they work cohesively and value accountability. At the end of the day, we have to work together. No one should fight challenges alone. No one should laugh alone, and no one should work alone. We'll all have our own different responsibilities, but that doesn't mean you are solely responsible for just one thing. Every board member should contribute and offer their ideas, however small, so no one's left behind and no moment is left forgotten. A cohesive e-board should have moments where they can just look back, not just an accomplishment, but also laugh at the little nuances. It's the inside jokes that we are allowed to make that shows that we care about MAFA, but most importantly, it shows that we care about each other. Being able to bond early with your e-board will set the standard for the year, and consistent support and feedback will snowball into a positive environment for those on board and reflect across the org as a whole. How we care for each other makes every moment worth 10 times more, and I intend to be open and communicate with eBoard, not just as president, but as a peer. We are all working towards the same goal. Going into my senior year, I'm at that point where it's natural to look back at the things I've done, what that I've done well, and what I don't really want to remember. But unfortunately, my breakdowns planning MFAS, cultural dances, and showcases will always be there. But that legacy is what makes me want to run for president all the more. It's what taught me to grow. My experiences, however haunting, admittedly became the reason I strive to do more. I wouldn't have been a MAFA intern if our org didn't host MFAS, and I wouldn't have had the opportunity to work on the summit period if my mentor figure wasn't there to inspire me to run for eBoard. When I am MAFA's president, my number one goal is to be that example as someone who can communicate, bond, and grow from where they are now and with not just their board, but with the community and make things much better than they are.
Okay, good job, good job. You need a sip of water.
Mhm.
He's on it. All right, you're doing good. Then whenever you're ready, Julie is gonna give your first question. But whenever you're ready, don't choke on your water.
All right. Good speech, Tyler. For
Thank
your
you.
first question, how would you support your executive board and help prevent burnout?
Something that I've been talking about, well, planning out recently, if I were to be given this position, then I would want to, after the transition, I would want to get involved, get in touch with each executive board member, pretty much first thing as soon as possible, that even if it's online, trying to get a basis of what they want from me and what I want from them while trying to provide little steps or maybe even like a little quote unquote vision board to try to visualize how we should be communicating and working with each other since, again, like I said in my speech, it's throughout the entire year. And something that Sarah told me that she did for this year is make like a mission or vision statement for um, for eBoard, and that is something I would like to continue and maybe make something new with our current with the future eBoard if I was elected. And as for throughout the year, I mean, constant check-ins, hopefully not as much as because then I'll be stepping on BPI. I mean, just end of semester or after events, after large events, I would want to check in with board members and try to check in with them as frequently as possible without interfering with any other position. And also just try not to be me and business person all the time, but just try to be there as a friend because some of these board members, well, I've had experience working with them before and I don't want to like affect anything and I just want to be there for them because it's more than a presidency position. It's more of a partnership to me.
Hi, Tyler. You're doing amazing so far. Your next question is, if you notice an exec board member falling behind on their responsibilities, how would you approach the situation to help them get back on track?
Um, I've been working on this recently, just trying not to take things so personally or thinking that it's the worst. Just take things with a grain of salt without jumping to conclusions. I would want to try to understand what the issue is and without making any accusations, just try to communicate with the board member about their responsibilities and try to take accountability of what they have to do and what may have prevented them from doing that task and getting it done on time. I'm not much of a deadline person, but of course we always will have deadlines. So I will try to keep it as strict as strict, but as lenient as possible. And if anything, I will always lend my hand if need be, and help in any capacity I can. So they do not feel any more stressed. And because I know firsthand that if something is pushed on me, pushed on me, pushing me about getting something done on time, I start to break down, break down, break down. It's happened in the past. I don't want that to happen to anyone else. So, be there for anyone that needs my help.
All right, good answer. So for your next question, might be your last one. You're coming up at about like a minute 15 so far. How do you envision the future of MAFA and what role do you see yourself playing in it?
Future of MAFA, I mean, from when I've been stalking MAFA like through YouTube, Instagram, it's been pretty active in some months and inactive in other months. So maybe trying to find some consistency, like especially working with um, media marketing because I feel they would have a lot of direction on how it could be consistent, as well as outreach team, but just try to communicate how I want the future to look with the rest of our board. Like again, through the mission vision statements with each other and with the rest of the organization for that year, I would want to make that clear and work together as it would greatly affect, like if we stick to that schedule, if we stick to how we work, then we would be able to prepare for a better future and hopefully have enough resources for our year, but also future years and create a good stepping stone for us and later on.
All right, then that concludes the Q&A portion. Round of applause. Good job, Tyler. Alrighty. While you drink water, I'm gonna explain the next steps. So we're still interviewing other applicants till June 4th, so tomorrow. So for voting information, we have our MAFA org/schools and our MAFA executive board. They'll be voting from June 8th to the 14th. So for MAFA orgs, their VPEs will be allotted 1 vote, and MAFA executive board members will be allotted 2 votes. And then for those running unopposed, they must receive 2/3 of the vote to be elected. And then the results will be emailed on June 15th. Any questions?
No, sounds good.
All
All right.
right. Then you're all good. So yeah, good job. Thank you for
Thank
interviewing.
you. Thank you for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Hi.
All right, one sec.
Yeah, you're
Just
all good.
getting myself set up.
Take your time.
All right, hello.
Hi, how's your day going?
It's good. How are all of you guys?
Pretty good. Alrighty. And then you're from Minnesota?
Yes.
Oh my God. How's it in Minnesota? Is like the weather nice?
You know, so obviously, we have like crazy snow, but like all that's gone. Winter's done now. So like, um, in more recent times, it's just been more rainy than
Oh,
anything, which is unfortunate. But otherwise, Minnesota summer is usually pretty nice, not too hot. Um, it's enjoyable, but it's just been raining a lot lately. So
I just know like weather about Minnesota.
yeah.
But dang, at least it's summer, not like snowy and cold.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like
But
in the
when it has been nice, it's been nice. So
Mm, nice. Alrighty. Um, so I'm gonna start off the interview with saying thank you for applying and interviewing. I know it's kind of like a long process, so we truly appreciate it. I'm gonna go over the interview process really quick and then just let me know if you have any questions. Does
okay.
that sound good? Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll have 5 minutes to do your speech. I'll give you a 1 minute, 30-second warning in the chat, and then I'll also say time, just so you know. So just make sure you look out for that. And then after your speech, I'll give you like a few moments to like recollect your thoughts. You can get a sip of water if you want. I know like the speech can be a lot, so give you like a moment to like de-stress for a moment. And then we'll go into a 5 minute Q&A session where some of the e-board members will ask you some questions. And then that is it. Do you have any questions?
None right now. So I'm all ready to go whenever you guys are. So
All right. Whenever you start, I'll start the timer and then all good.
okay. Just give me one second here. Can you guys still see me? Okay. Okay.
Yep.
You hear me? All right. Okay, I'm getting started. Hi everyone, my name is Spencer Einza, and I am an incoming fourth-year music performance student at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. I am running for the position of president for MAFA, and my school's organization is the Philippine Student Association of Minnesota. I will be calling a PSA for the rest of the speech. Over my last 3 years as a student, I have seen PSA define what I call the true college experience, and it has been a place I can call home. Without it, my collegiate life would be very different, and I would have not opened the door to so many special different opportunities, such as getting involved with PSA and even MAFA. I started to get super involved within my PSA community at my school slowly but surely. I wasn't that committed until it was when I decided to go to the FACT conference back in 2022. That was a crazy leap of faith for me because there were about 26 students from my school, including myself, and they were all strangers, and I was the only freshman who went on the trip. I got to know so many people better through my home org because of it, as well as people from other schools in the Midwest. And these people I got to know in my home org turned into some of my closest friends for my life, and this trip cemented my roots into PSA. After this, I knew I wanted to get involved with PSA as much as possible. I then got involved with PSA board. I enjoyed interning the board with other members, which then led me to serve as the public relations officer last year, and where I helped with social media and outreach. And now I have recently finished up my term as the external vice president, helping lead the association and taking care of many different external affairs. Being the external vice president has been very rewarding and has opened the door to new experiences and visions that I've had for the organization and has made me a better leader both internally and externally. I've even incorporated my major into PSA, taking my passion for music and starting a new music performance group called PSA Mario, inspired by all the other MAFA affiliated music groups. I hope to push PSA's and my future new goals and endeavors to new heights by serving as the president of Unfamiliar Territory, MAFA. I believe all these PSA experiences make me a very well-rounded and qualified to serve as the president of this organization. Along with my past PSA experiences, I also want to tell you why I believe I would be a good fit for MAFA president. I'm always on things, top of things communication wise, and I respond to things very quickly. Anytime there is an issue, I address it by using my problem solving skills and get others involved as needed. I also love being inclusive and getting everyone involved, working as a team. As president, one of the most crucial parts of the role is to oversee the organization and everyone inside of it. So I strive to create a welcoming environment both within board and to our general audience, in which people can be free to be themselves. As a leader, it is important to read the room, to know when to be silly, when to be a leader, to be serious and lock in, and when to put the leadership stuff aside to be a friend. I want to be a leader that people can rely on and be heavily for it to be a point where I can be the foundation and backbone for an org like MAFA. I'm also a big initiator of new ideas and actually seeing them go through. Many of my ideas within PSA have been accomplished, such as PSA Mario, going forth with many collabs within our school and making many new connections outside of the state of Minnesota. As the president, there may be times where I make mistakes. There are times within my past board experiences where these things have happened, but the important thing is to learn how to grow from them. It is an inevitable thing that can happen to anyone, but I will never let it discourage me. And a good leader is always willing to fix things for next time and to learn. Last, enough about me. Let's talk about MAFA. I served as a MAFA external this past year, and it made me realize how big the Midwest is and why I want to help serve the community. I was not able to do much with MAFA related things this past year, except for the out of state conferences due to my time commitments, but now I am willing to give it my all. I will serve as a PSA advisor during my last year in PSA, which is a low commitment role, and I know I can take on a larger scale role in MAFA because of that. Minnesota is also one of the furthest schools in the MAFA sphere, so we have felt pretty disconnected in recent years, and I'm hoping to further this connection with MAFA, with my home school more, as well as other schools that feel the same way. I also want to be sort of part of something bigger and serve the Midwestern community by overseeing large scale events go through, helping plan them, and helping my other fellow board members succeed in their tasks so that we can succeed as a large executive board. If elected, many people look up to board members to do a great job, and I hope to succeed expectations as a leader of such a large scale organization. I come into the MAFA board with an outsider perspective, not having participated in many online events or me really know the board much at all. Many of you listening to me now may have never seen me before, but I feel it is never too late to get started with something especially as important as this. The MAFA board is a culmination of many communities in the Midwest coming together, and that is my main takeaway. If elected, I really want to get more involvement, especially with those who may have not been as active with MAFA in the past, such as myself, and to really take new initiatives. It is a big responsibility, but I hope you will accept and trust me. We all come from so many diverse backgrounds, and I think that is cool that an organization like this even exists, and something that is so special to the Midwestern community. I've seen what the previous leaders of my PSA have given to me, and now I would like to pay that forward outside of Minnesota. I believe that I will make this role unique and to my own as myself, and as I've been doing for others in other roles, and to do my very best to serve as the president of MAFA and to allow new ideas and plans to thrive. Thank you for your time.
Wait, that was really good. You had like 2 seconds left. That was really good. Alrighty. Do you need like a sip of water or like a little breather?
Yeah.
Go for it, go for it. How far is Minnesota from like Chicago?
So every time we go to the trip, so it's like 6 hours to get to Chicago, which isn't horrible, but compared to some other schools, I know it may be a lot more. Fact usually takes like 9 hours to drive to, so we gotta leave pretty early in the day to get down there. Yeah,
Oh my gosh. 9 hours, you guys are so strong.
I know, but we do, and we actually have pretty decent attendance from our org who goes, so it's a lot of fun to really just get down to UIUC and just hang out and stuff.
Road trip. Wait,
Yeah,
that's pretty fun though. Oh my gosh. I didn't think it was 9 hours. Oh my
yeah,
god. I think my org, we went to MFAS and it was like 7 hours. Oh, we didn't really survive that one.
yeah.
Our drive was so long already. So whenever you're ready for your Q&A session, Julie is gonna give you your first question, and then I'll start the timer.
All right, you guys can go ahead whenever you're ready to.
Great speech, Spencer. It was really good. For your first question, how would you ensure effective communication and organization across a mostly virtual board?
So yeah, so at least in my home org, so we primarily use Slack, but whatever communication we will use for MAFA will be good. One thing that I have learned from being on the top of an executive board is really making sure like messages and like communication is always on top, making sure that there are no delays or not too much procrastination happening, and making sure all parties are accounted for. We've had some experiences in which like obviously if we forget to say one thing, it can like lead to a chain reaction of other events that we don't want to happen, right? So really making sure that everything's on top of things. When it comes to my board at home, most of our communication is virtual when we're not in the board meetings, of course. And a lot of things happen behind the scenes around that. So, and I'm always someone who actively checks for messages and really making sure things go through, sending emails when they need to, scheduling ahead of time, just really preparing ahead as much as you can.
So yeah, for your next question, what motivates you to run for president, and what legacy do you hope to leave?
Yeah, so at my home org, I also ran for president of my home org, but it was a battle between me and my other VP, and we ultimately decided that whoever didn't get it was going to go still help the organization strongly and do great things. And one initiative I really wanted to take was MAFA, right? So all my roles within PSA have primarily been external outreach. So like within my last 3 years, and this kind of falls in line with that, and I think it's like a great way to just really get involved with all the other schools. Kind of like that's how I said before too, being so far away and not really as involved within the MAFA sphere as of lately. I think it's a good way to build that connection up. I don't think we've had a Minnesota board member in a very long time, or if at all. Not too sure on that, but I think having that bridge and stepping stone back into our hands would be a great idea to just get us back into the game. So, and I also really want to make an impact as a upcoming senior this last year. Um, just leave a greater impact somehow on the greater Filipino community of the Midwest and my home board. So
You're doing really well so far. Your next question is, how would you support your exec board and help prevent burnout?
yeah, so obviously this is going to be a little bit different. I know you guys are very virtual for the most part, but I know when in-person things happen, it can get a little bit more stressful. Um, Burnout, it's going to be good to know when to take a break. Obviously, school, if you're a student, shouldn't always come first. And knowing when to step up and communicate, like, hey, if this board member needs to take a break, they should be allowed to take a break, and we could figure out another way because there's always going to be another solution to figure something out, right? So if we say need to delegate a task to the PvP team, the presidents and vice presidents, because someone can complete a task, then we'll do so, right? But in terms of burnout, I myself have gone through a lot of things as well while being on my boards. I can't get to everything sometimes, and that's okay. Just really knowing when to step it up and reach out, but also knowing that if you can't get something done, that's okay. Just please make sure to like be on top of things and take responsibility when you can or reach out as necessary.
All right, you're doing great. We just hit the 1 minute mark. So for your last question, do you have any new ideas or any ideas in general that you would like to implement?
Yeah, so the big one, I've been following you guys for a while now, and I've really tried my best to try and get involved with some of the programs, like such as the Muff family, etc., some other things. And even like just I know having more of an in-person presence is hard for a board like this, but if possible, if we could do more things like that, I think that could be really cool, especially during more off-season things when people are able to travel like summer. But even just doing more to have our online presence more strong and actively going. I'm also in the Discord server too, I know too many things don't happen crazily, but I would like to see it do more if possible, but it's okay if it doesn't happen, just like kind of ideas like that. More events happening along the way. So what those would be, TBD, but I'm sure with the exec board we can figure something out because you guys have been doing a great job the whole year. So
All right, nice, good job. You did amazing.
yeah, thank you
Um,
guys.
so I'm just gonna explain like the voting information and the next steps. So, the interview was really the last thing you had to do for us. So now we're gonna be interviewing the rest of the applicants until tomorrow. And then for voting information, we have our MAFA orgs and MAFA e-board. They're gonna be voting from June 8th to the 14th, and MAFA member schools, their VPEs will be allotted one vote, and then MAFA e-board members will be allotted two votes. And then for those running unopposed, they will need 2/3 of the vote to be able to be elected. And then the results of the election will be emailed to you on June 15th. Do you have any questions?
That's it for now. So I have none.
All right, nice. Well, you're all done, and we really appreciate you for applying and interviewing with us.
All right, yeah. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night.
You too.
See ya.